As the anticipation builds and grows for the big day in Ayodhya on the 22nd of January, it's worth taking a step back and asking, how is that consensus actually built? Today, we'll be talking to one of India's most respected, loved, and followed spiritual gurus. All of you are familiar with Sri Ravi Shankar, but not many of you know, perhaps, about the role he played over many years as a mediator. At one point, a Supreme Court appointed mediator talking to both communities, building consensus, even at one point suggesting an out of court settlement, and in many ways preparing the ground, jisko kehte hain mahol banana, for the Supreme Court verdict that would eventually come. Sri Ravi Shankar, as a spiritual leader, has always used his influence to try and mediate conflict, whether in Jammu and Kashmir or with what was then known as the Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi dispute. Joining us on the program this evening, a very, very special guest, our newsmaker on the program today, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar. Namaskar, Gurudev, and a pleasure to see you after a very long gap of time. Good to see you. How are you, Gurudev?
Very good, Barkha. Namaskar. It's so nice. Yeah,
Namaskar,
to see
Gurudev.
you.
Let me start by asking you what you're feeling about the 22nd of January. This is a day that has come after many years of conflict. I think at one point, even you said when you were mediator that we have lost enough blood, sweat, tears, and energy on it. When you look ahead at this day, the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishthan that is supposed to take place on the 22nd of January, what is the one overriding thought, the one overriding emotion in your mind and heart at this moment?
This is the moment that has been waited for by millions throughout the centuries. So, in this country, Ram is such a part of everybody's life. Ram is actually the breath. You greet people saying Ram Ram. When someone dies, you say Ram Nam Satya Hai. Ram has been such a part of life. Even Mahatma Gandhi, his last word was Hey Ram, right? So, and this moment is what people have been waiting throughout the country to see the Ram Mandir built in his birthplace. And when the judgment came, people wanted to celebrate right there, but it was the wisdom that they held back their enthusiasm, uh, their feelings to celebrate at that moment. Now that is being unleashed. Now they can खुले आम सब सेलिब्रेट कर सकते हैं, अपना भावनाओं को ये लोग अभी व्यक्त कर सकते हैं. They can express their feelings on this very, very special and historic moment.
Are you somewhat disappointed that this will not be a day of political unity, that sections of the opposition have decided not to come, that at least two of the four Shankaracharyas have some misgivings? They have made statements saying that this is not the right timing. A temple's construction must be completed before such a ceremony takes place. As one of India's leading spiritual gurus, what would you say to some of these rejections of the invite, or even what the two Shankaracharyas have said?
Sanatan Dharma has many school of thought and many philosophies are prevalent. There are many ways of worship in Sanatan Dharma. Actually, if you see, there is nothing wrong in doing Pran Pratishtha before the building is getting completed. For example, even Ram himself did the Pran Pratishtha of Shivji in Rameshwaram, and there was no temple at the time. Temple was built by kings later on the Shivling that is in Rameshwaram. Similarly, when you take Kedarnath, you take Somnath, all this, there are ample examples to say that once the main place is ready, without even having the shikar and the completion of the other aspects of temple, you can do Pran Pratishtha, number one. Second is, see, it's not a new place. A new place has a different formula. That is, if it's a barren land which was never been a temple before. So there the rules are you build the temple, complete it, and then do the Ram Pratishtha. Here, Ramlal Virajman has been there for a long time. Ramlal, you are showing the Ramlala, he has been there. And so the presence of Lord Ram has always been there. And so now this is the sort of re-establishing his, uh, his presence in the Ramlala Virajman. Yeah.
So, as you've explained that very simply, you of course I imagine are going to be part of this moment of national celebration and sentimentalism. How will you be marking the day in your own unique way?
I'll be present there, I will witness it. Barkha, as I said, before also, Ram is in our heart. Ram is an internal phenomenon, it's a spiritual energy. That is what is Ram for me. But the culture and the tradition of this country, the civilization, is built around the temples, built around a place of worship, and that need to be celebrated with all its gaiety and you know
You,
temples
s-
have not been the place of only rituals, it has been the center of culture and art, civilizational, narratives for centuries. So, Ram Temple will be a big pride for uh, all the Ram Bhaktas, the entire country as such. Yeah.
Yes, you explained quite simply your counter to what two of the Shankaracharyas have suggested or argued on the timing. But you did not respond to my question about certain sections of the opposition not turning up for this event, and you're chuckling because I think you were going to sidestep that question and keep far away from party politics as you often do. But would you appeal to the opposition at this point, even now, to come to Ayodhya on the 22nd of January? What would you say, Gurudev?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this is an occasion where we must keep aside other politics and just join hands and be part of the celebration. Anyone who misses the celebration will be losers because it is touching the emotions of the entire country. Cutting across the caste, cutting across religions, people are coming together and celebrating at this time. I don't think it's a wisdom to boycott this. See, uh, uh, the parliament building is built by obviously one political party, and you can't say I won't go into the parliament house because it was built by so and so. That doesn't mean make much sense. So I would say that this is an occasion. Politics is not all life is about. So it's a part of life, no doubt. You should keep it aside at least for this celebration and rise above the differences and come together and be part of the emotions that the whole country is now exhibiting. Yes.
Gurudev, I want you to take us back to the many years that you have been associated with this Ram Mandir project, as it were, cause, movement. It goes back, as your writings have revealed in this past week and reminded us, to the Vajpayee years, when Ashok Singhal, leader of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, he was very agitated. He had, in fact, gone on to a fast unto death. Vajpayee ji forced him to break that fast. He was a bit annoyed, and he turned to you for intervention. Tab se leke, through the court appointed years as mediator, you have been associated with this. So let's start with the Vajpayee years. At that time, in 2002, when Ashok Singhal approaches you, did you ever think that this would happen? Because it was one of the most volatile, divisive, dividing, polarizing points of debate that time.
You are absolutely right. That was a hot topic, and even Honorable Vajpayee ji didn't know what to do, how to respond, and he was under tremendous pressure from Ashok Singhal and RSS, everybody, that even if the government goes off, falls, never mind, but he must declare Ram Janambhoomi and get this work done. and that was not never it could never be a solution. So then he came to me. You have been showing in your here video the Devkali Mandir, where which was in a dilapidated condition, which it came to me as a vision that we had to first renovate the temple and rejuvenate the pond which is right in front of it, which was a garbage dump. And after that, I got this, I had the vision that Ram Mandir will happen after 14 years. Then I assured the Ashok Singhal ji, because Ashok Singhal ji's one pointed agenda was to see Ram Mandir. He was so passionate. I mean, can you imagine an 80-year-old man traveling day and night, and with so much vigor and force and energy and enthusiasm? It is something to see, when there is a passion, how it gives you so much energy, irrespective of your age. That you could see in Ashok Singhal ji. But as we all know, he was a firebrand, and there was no way he could do any. He could be a bridge, or he could do anything that would bring comfort to people of different communities. He was like a bulldozer person. He has his own ways, methods. But we had to take everyone with us, everyone together. We should not hurt the other community also. No one should be hurt. Everyone should feel happy. And today I'm happy that's what happening. So many Muslims are taking part in the Ayodhya Ram Mandir. And Barkha, I would like to tell you, even during the mediation time, no single Muslim leader were opposed to Ram Mandir. They were only trying to find what is the solution, how we can make this happen, how we can come together in harmony. भाईचारा तो सबका एजेंडा ही था, सबका मन में ये था कि हम भाईचारा नहीं होने देंगे, बिगड़ने देंगे. We have to find a solution, but they had the religious restriction. हमने इतने सारे इमामों से मिले. कुछ इमामों का ये था कि ये once it's a masjid, it will always be a masjid. You can never give it away. कुछ लोगों ने ये भी कहा हम दे नहीं सकते, मगर आप ले सकते हो, आप ले लीजिए. So they know that Babri Masjid was not a sacred place, while it is very, very important place of identity for Hindus. So, and there was a fear, there was a concern. अच्छा ये एक मस्जिद दे देंगे, ये एक मस्जिद का हो जाए तो ये, if there are 3,000 other mosques, same thing happens, what will happen? And how can we face any community? It was a matter of face saving for people and honoring their own self-respect. Someone who has broken the masjid, how we can give them a masjid? These were all the concern. So in one tune, both the Hindus, Nirmohi Akhada and others which you are showing also, they came to me in 2017, as well as the Muslim side. They both asked me, Gurudev, we trust you, we have trust in you, you stand up and we will find a solution. And so then I started working on this, and
the rest is the
the
same
wish
history.
of everybody. Yeah, Nirmohi Akhadas, though the Mahants were here. When he came, he was 90-year-old person, and there was tears in his house. Gurudev, will I ever be able to see the Ram Mandir? I'm so glad that today he will be able to see the Ram Mandir that's happening.
You also have spoken about how the Chief Justice of India, Justice Gogoi, he had a meeting with you. And he told you कि इसमें इतने ज़्यादा कागजात हैं, there are so many documents, 8 trunks full of documents that are in Urdu and Hindi. These are going to have to be translated into English, which will only increase the number of trunks, maybe add another 4 or 5. It will take the number of trunks to 12. And he said there has to be another way to do this. Talk about that conversation that you had with the Chief Justice. It would have taken them years. It would have taken them, I think he told you, 2.5 years, 3 years just to read all the documents if you hadn't stepped in as mediator.
He said, even if you just to study these documents, if I put all the judges, he said it will take 2 years. So, Gurudev, if you can talk to the parties and bring them to just on consensus few points or even few points of differences, then we will take it from there onwards. That's what his saying was. And we did that. It took us about 8 months. 8 months every day we sat almost every
And there were
day.
25 parties. There were 25 parties in this petition.
This is a very, very unique thing in the whole world. No conflict has 25 parties in it. And then you have to talk to them all and then hear them all. It took 8 to 10 hours every day. We used to sit for 8 months, and then whatever has happened.
And the Muslim
But
leaders.
it's so beautiful to see that today the dream of millions have come true. At the same time, it has created such a sense of brotherhood and oneness in the country, and it's a happy ending. Happy ending to a 500-year-old conflict.
Yes, that's well put. But let me ask you this: the Muslim leaders grew to trust you. They even at one point presented you with Tulsidas's Ramayana, but also with a copy of the Quran. How did you build the trust of the Muslim community?
Trust is not built only by talking to people. They see you, they see your personality, they see your action. When by your action, you can see that belong to everybody. You have your sincerity. My formula is clarity in mind, purity in heart, and sincerity in action. That will resonate to everybody. We convey more through our vibrations than through words. Right, Barkha? So, I don't know, even I can't even explain how everyone trusts me.
I think it's because you smile through everything. I think it's because the smile never goes from your face.
Yeah, it was a very, very good time for me to be with all the different communities. We have been working also in the Middle East in during the war, in Iraq. We have been working in Syria. We have been working Lebanon, all those places, and people have seen that whatever we are doing very with a genuineness in it. So perhaps that has made people to come together. And there were some people who were in the beginning were not very pleased, but then as the time went on, everyone came together and came to a good ending. Huh? Okay, Barkha.
One last question before you. One
One
last
last
question
question.
before you. Yes,
Okay.
it's just 2 minutes more. Two questions, in fact, two last questions. One, you were in touch with the Prime Minister. When you were playing the role of a mediator, what was on his mind before the Supreme Court verdict came? What did Prime Minister Modi seek, in a sense, before we knew that there would be a mandir, in which way the Supreme Court verdict went?
No, I had one conversation with the Prime Minister before the to do an out of court settlement with the parties when the parties were um, coming forward towards me. Then Prime Minister, गुरुदेव सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जैसे बोलते हैं वैसे हमको करना चाहिए. As the Supreme Court says, we can only do like that. So he was very much in tune with what Supreme Court wants to do and say, and he had total trust in the Supreme Court that they are going to do the best. Number one. Second, When I was appointed as the mediator, then Prime Minister said, Gurudev, you please go ahead and talk to the parties. So he encouraged me to begin with in that. So his idea was not to hurt anybody. It's a very sensitive thing. किसी तरह से सबका इसमें सौहार्दपूर्ण ये पूरा हो जाए देश का, बढ़िया हो जाएगा, ये मानसिकता थी सब में उस वक्त.
Very last question. Very last question. Promise last question. You said that a lot of Muslim leaders were very worried that ये एक बारी हम हाँ बोल देंगे तो बार-बार यही होगा. I just want to ask you to be forward thinking. There is Gyanvapi, there is Mathura. One is already in court, the other is possibly going to reach court. What would be your advice as somebody who has the trust of both communities? How do we proceed and how do we tackle Gyanvapi and Mathura? That's my last question, Gurudev.
Barkha, I would say we live in a civilized society. We should put an end to conflict. The only way forward is three things: dialogue, dialogue, and dialogue.
That's well said. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We need voices of peace, consensus building, and conciliation. Thank you so much for your time today. Mojo's Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.